Sam.
Is this a 30-strong backbench revolt against the energy policies that you have outlined in the form of the Monash Group? Obviously, we've heard from Craig Kelly that he does support the National Energy Guarantee, but not necessarily in the formula that you have outlined. Do you think this is a serious challenge to Malcolm Turnbull and your own policies?
No, I don't. I think what people recognise on our side of the political divide is the importance to see coal, to see gas and renewables all play their part in the energy mix. It was Bill Shorten and the Labor Party that said coal has no future in Australia, selling out the blue-collar workers and selling out the blue-collar jobs right across the country. On the other hand, what we want is the right market signals to see investment across the country in the right place and at the right time. That's what the National Energy Guarantee will offer, and as a result, you will see coal continue to play an important part in our energy mix.
I noticed in that interview just then you very clearly said that it was for the market to decide if there were going to be any new coal-fired power stations in Australia. Should I read that as you saying that you don't want to subsidise the construction of new ones?
Well, the key point here is that under the National Energy Guarantee, we will value the reliability and the dispatchability that comes from thermal generation, of which coal and gas are two types. So by putting in place the right signals, you will be sending the message to those market participants who do want to invest in coal or in gas that they will be valued, and I think that's important.
Okay, but you keep saying that you want this policy to be technology neutral, or it is technology neutral, but Craig Kelly and Erica Betts and Kevin Andrews, they don't necessarily want a technology neutral policy, do they? They want it to be pro-coal, and unashamedly so.
Well, I think they want an end to the subsidies and to the taxes and the trading schemes that the Labor Party is so famous for. That is what the National Energy Guarantee does bring an end to, because it basically says that these types of generation, whether they are renewables or they are thermal, will have to stand on their own 2 feet, will have to be judged on their merits, and I think that's an important change.
Okay, if we could just unpack some of Craig Kelly's criticism of subsidies for renewables last night on Peter Credlin's program. In some ways, I think that is the more substantive part of his argument as opposed to just being pro-coal. He says that there's about $1.2 billion in renewable subsidies that are being paid for by consumers. That is a direct hit, a direct increase to consumers' bills. Is that correct?
Well, the reality is, under the renewable energy target, both small scale and large scale, there are subsidies that are paid to put more renewables into the system. That was a policy that was brought in by the Labor Party and readjusted when Tony Abbott was the Prime Minister. And it was really industry policy. It was designed not to be technology neutral, but to put more renewables into the system. What we need to do is move away from that approach and to one which says all of the above will be valued, namely coal, gas and renewables, and that's what the National Energy Guarantee does, and that's why it's an important break from the past.
Yeah, but Craig Kelly basically said in that interview that is $1.2 billion that gets directly added for rooftop solar this year. There's another $400 million on electricity prices through other programs. He said that we're looking at paying an extra $1.6 billion that's being added onto consumers' bills on top of what we are already paying. Is that correct?
Well, the reality is, under the small-scale renewable scheme, households are paying an extra $35 a year to subsidise rooftop solar across the country. Now, we've seen a rapid uptake of rooftop solar as the price of that technology has come down. And certainly we encourage people to put rooftop solar in, and we are seeing benefits to those households in terms of lower power bills. But under the renewable energy target, all energy consumers do pay for that subsidy, and so that is a point that I think is obvious to all those who pay close attention to the energy market.
That's right, but Craig Kelly says that is the reason why those subsidies need to come to an immediate end. Is that your view?
Well, that's why the National Energy Guarantee is important, Sam, because it does end the subsidies. You see, if we had had a clean energy target, which the Labor Party was promoting at one stage, then that would have seen a continuation of the RET type scheme with more renewables. The beauty of the National Energy Guarantee is it doesn't have any subsidies, it doesn't have any taxes, it doesn't have a trading scheme. What it does do is it uses the existing contract market to put a premium on reliability. And that premium on reliability was what was missing in South Australia. And that is why when you had a large amount of wind and solar come into that system, without the backup and the storage, you had great volatility, and South Australians paying 20% more for their power bills than you saw in other states across the Commonwealth. And that is why the Snowy 2.0 scheme is so important, because it will be the big battery for the east coast of Australia and reduce some of that volatility, and in the process reduce power prices.
Okay, there have been those that have said that this is pure politics by the Monash Group. There's a quote in the Australian today saying that these MPs regard this issue as the only way you can win the next election, and that you haven't framed it correctly. Do you agree that this fight, setting up a contest between yourself and Labor over energy, is probably the only issue that you're going to be able to win the next election on?
Well, there is a clear point of distinction between us and the Labor Party on energy policy. They want to see more taxes come in. They want to see more trading schemes, and they took an emissions intensity scheme to the last election. And now that we've got the National Energy Guarantee, building momentum among the key stakeholders, the energy users and the energy producers, Labor has gone quiet. They haven't asked me a question in the Parliament on energy for more than 170 days. The reality is they know that they are beholden to their Green left flank, just as Bill Shorten went to the baristas of Batman and told them he was anti-Adani, and to the miners of Mackay and told him he was pro-Adani. He has a very mixed message on energy. He has a very high, recklessly high renewable energy target, and he's proposing a new tax for the electricity system. On the other hand, we have listened to the experts. With the National Energy Guarantee, we are seeking the support of the states. We are getting good support to date, and we want to see lower power prices through not only the National Energy Guarantee, but also the work we're doing on gas markets and with networks and with retailers. So there is a clear point of distinction on energy policy between us and the Labor Party, and the independent modelling, Sam, does show that under our plan, the average Australian household will be $300 better off than they would be under the Labor Party.
Okay, given that though, how concerned are you by the position that the ACT has taken in relation to this, the position that Shane Rattenbury has forecast in terms of the way he's going to go into those negotiations?
Well, Shane Rattenbury represents the ACT, which has a vote at the COAG energy table. So I will constructively engage with them and hope to get their support for the NEG. At the same time, the Energy Security Board and the independent experts are talking regularly with him. The ACT needs to understand that if we miss this opportunity for the National Energy Guarantee, what will directly result is higher power prices and a less stable system. This is no time for ideology. We need to be practical, and we need to solve a problem that has bedeviled our energy system for more than a decade. The ACT represent only 0.03% of the energy generation in the national electricity market, and just 1.5% of demand across the national electricity market. So I cannot foresee a situation where you had the strong support of Labor and Liberal states behind this historic reform, and the ACT would be the one objector and block this opportunity, which is too good to miss.
Okay, just finally, have you had a chance to talk to Barnaby Joyce or Tony Abbott? We're told that they are actually potentially a member of this Ginger group.
No, I haven't. I spoke to Craig Kelly earlier today, and of course, you know, I value the views and the friendship of all members of the Parliament and of my colleagues on the various committees that we sit. So I will speak to Tony and Barnaby at any time about these important issues with the energy system, but point out our ultimate focus is on driving power bills down and reliability up, and that's what we believe we can do with the National Energy Guarantee and with the other reforms we're driving in the energy market.
All right, well, Josh Frydenberg, thanks for talking to us about it and our viewers today as well. Thank you.
Good to be with you, Sam.